starts with Chris Christopherson and Jane Fonda in a new thriller about international banking called Rollover.
Well, Rollover is Jane Fonda's latest film from her own production company, and if that suggests that the film has a message, you're right. Rollover tries to be to the world of international finance and petrodollars what the China Syndrome was to nuclear energy. In other words, a cautionary adventure film, with the villains here being amoral American bankers and Arab moneymen who will do anything for a buck, including destroy the buck and ruin the American monetary system. Jane Fonda plays the wife of a recently murdered top corporation executive. She's about to be eased out of her husband's company, but hotshot banker Chris Christopherson wants to help her stay in power.
You were saying?
I thought we ought to have a drink on it.
On what exactly?
Your future at Winnicam. Scotch, if you don't mind, with a twist.
Mr. Smith, you must have me confused with an executive. They've tolerated me on the board as a courtesy to Charlie, but now that he's gone, I'm just an ex-movie star coasting into the sunset.
And certainly not someone who's going to throw him a curveball at lunch about a Spanish petrochemical plant. I'd say you coast pretty good. Where'd you learn the moves?
Charlie involved me a lot in the business. And when I was an actress, I had my own company and made my own deals. Charlie always says Charlie used to say I had good instincts. Well, we're playing the classic scene, aren't we? The banker and the widow.
I'm sorry, I guess this is all too soon.
Of course it's too soon. Everything's too soon, isn't it? The company's in trouble too soon. Charlie died too soon. So what?
It'd be funny, wouldn't it, if the banker helped the widow walk off with the chairmanship?
Hilarious. You mind telling me how?
Christopherson really seems dead there, but as you might expect, he does exactly help her out, help her get the chairmanship of the board. He helps her finance also a new oil plant with a scheme, of course, that can earn him a bundle too. Half of this film is financial talk, the other half sex talk that Fonda and Christopherson find time for in between all the wheeling and dealing.
Well, I guess I should call the cockpit. Have them radio the office for the gory details.
Hey, that can work. This can't. You're really ticked off about the deal, aren't you?
I'm sorry. I don't like being dependent, that's all. I was never dependent on any one studio. I didn't depend on Charlie. And if anything goes wrong, I don't like being dependent on Borough National.
You mean me? Here. If you can't live with the deal, forget it. Tell New York the terms are unacceptable.
I warn you, I'm a problem. I am a bad person when I get in a corner.
Fine. If you get in a corner, tell me to go to hell. In business, sets of ground rules. But if you think the only thing we've been doing together is business, one of us is a fool.
A ridiculous melodramatic scene. I thought Rollover, in fact, was a terrible film. It has none of the excitement of the China Syndrome. Watching the dollar decline on a tote board just doesn't have the excitement of a potential nuclear meltdown. And the love story, I think, is silly, too. The film's murder mystery angle about a secret bank account is implausibly handled. Christopherson performs as if he were in a trance. And Fonda, I think, comes off as sort of frumpy and not particularly modern in all of her ball gowns and business suits. In fact, I guess there isn't anything I liked about Rollover.
I can't recommend it either. I think I probably liked it a little bit more than you did because I saw some chemistry between Christopherson and Fonda you apparently didn't react to. On the other hand, as you're right, the plot of the movie is totally implausible. Now, what's the number of that bank account?
21214?
21214. Now, this is the bank account the Arabs are using to I'm not going to give away too much, to move all of their wealth out of America and back to the Middle East, right? So, one guy is killed because he knows the account number. Another man commits suicide because he knows the account number. Then somebody else calls up somebody that they don't even know on the telephone and leaves the account number in a message for a third party. And at this point, do you think the Arabs or the bank change that account number? Not a chance, because then the movie would be over.
Well, there's also a very fundamental thing. I just looked at that love story again on the airplane. Now, think about the China Syndrome, which was a taut thriller about a similar kind of issue. They didn't have any love story like that popping up in the China Syndrome. They didn't need one. The story was exciting. This film only gives us that love story because, frankly, the international finance story isn't that exciting.
Well, I'll tell you, after China Syndrome, I was afraid of nuclear power plants, and after this one, I still have my money in the bank.
Okay. We both hated Rollover, the dim-witted international finance thriller starring Jane Fonda and Chris Christopherson. 2 no votes for that one.